for the greatest, I don't know, 10 days, 2 weeks, month, whatever it was, greatest time ever, ever. That's what I love about New York.
I know who he is, but I don't really know what's going on too much with him.
Are you surprised at the production that Lynn's had over the past week?
I don't even know what he's done. I have no idea.
LINSANITY, how one of the greatest shows on earth almost never happened, then was cut short. It's clear that back in late 2011, the Knicks didn't know what they had. No one did. When LINSANITY came in early 2012, it shocked the world and took basketball by storm. For its brief moment, it was literally the greatest show on earth that everyone had to tune in and see. In the back of your mind, there's a ticking clock knowing this has to be a dream that has to end soon. No way this expected 12th man off the bench, who's had some time around the league and hasn't produced, could keep this up. And then he does it again and again. Then you say, well, it wasn't against real competition. Watch when he faced John Wall or Derrick Rose or Kobe. Then again and again, and then 38 points on Kobe and the Lakers in the Garden. So yeah, again. Jeremy Lin was a few key occurrences away from making the world see this wasn't a fluke, a flash in the pan. In anything you do, there's always a threshold you have to reach and get through. On the other side, there's a promised land where you're solidified as here to stay, and all the pressure goes away, leaving you with the confidence that you belong. In life, it could be a position of power job promotion. In music, it's that sophomore album. You build up this buzz and expectations along with it, then your debut comes out and it's a success. You're on the scene now, and people start to wait for a follow-up hit single, then another successful album. From there, you become a young staple in the game, and your career is valued and moved along the line with care into whatever artist you become. In basketball, it's that first big contract. Jeremy Lin, who because of a lockout didn't have a chance to work out for new Golden State head coach Mark Jackson. First day of training camp 2011, he was waived by the Golden State Warriors. The Rockets picked him up but waived him as well December 24th because of guards already with guaranteed contracts on the team. Iman Shumpert gets injured December 27th and Lin is claimed off waivers by the Knicks, leading to those comments by his head coach and the media not showing much confidence. Lin wasn't simply a step closer to his 15 minutes and cup of tea in the league being over. Early January 2012, Lin is going through his struggles to find minutes and even a D-League stint where he had to score a triple-double just to get out of when the Knicks called him back up, still awaiting Baron Davis's Knicks debut. As you'll see, somehow amazing occurrences would continue to happen, clearing way for a story that captivated the sports world and the world in general. Too bad it was a flash in the pan. Maybe the longest in history, but then it was over. Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man. Take a minute to like, subscribe, and comment on who I should do next. You can also send a super thanks by clicking the button below. Enjoy the video. In a February loss to the Celtics, Mike D'Antoni inserts Jeremy Lin, later saying he got lucky because all three of his guards were playing so bad he got desperate. The Knicks were playing their worst basketball, losing 11 of their last 13 before then, and the fans wanted D'Antoni fired. The next game, February 4th, 2012, LINSANITY begins. In a game against the New Jersey Nets and four-time All-Star guard, soon to be named to his fifth, Deron Williams, Jeremy Lin plays 35 minutes, scores 25 points, and has 7 assists and 5 rebounds. And the Knicks won. February 6 against the Jazz, Lin gets his first start without Amari Stoudemire, who wasn't with the team because of his brother passing away, and Carmelo, who left the game 6 minutes into an injury. Lin plays 45 minutes that game and had 28 points, 8 assists, and shot 58% from the field. In the 3 days it took for Lin to face his next challenge, this is where you knew the luck would run out. He goes and puts his first double-double of 23 points and 10 assists on John Wall and won the game. LINSANITY was everywhere in build-up for his next biggest test yet. Stunt number 1, Carmelo Anthony.
Right now, he's playing out of his mind,
That's
like
right.
completely out of his mind. He's unbelievable right now. And when I come back, I think I can take some of that pressure off of him.
LINSANITY will always be a hidden gem in why Carmelo Anthony not accepting, or at least Lin not being able to play well with Carmelo Anthony, stunted his growth just as much as it did Lin's. For whatever reason, Carmelo returning to the Knicks after his knee injury marked the beginning of the end of LINSANITY and essentially Jeremy Lin's stardom. The Knicks had won 7 straight since Lin was first tested against Deron Williams and the Nets. They went 8-1 from then until Carmelo was inserted back into the lineup February 20th against the team it all started with, ending in a Knicks loss, Jeremy Lin leading the offense, taking the most shots and scoring 21 points and 9 assists. Carmelo modest 11 shots, 11 points. By the game, Carmelo gets more comfortable and asserts himself more. As you could tell, win or lose, he wanted it to be known as his team. Not that it was personal against Jeremy Lin, but New York is for stars, and Carmelo was the residing star that was supposed to bring the Knicks back to prominence. Lin becoming a star in the league and globally because of his background, I'm sure burned the fire in Melo to feel almost threatened. The Knicks went 2-8 over the 10-game stretch since Carmelo's return and back in the driver's seat of the franchise. In his 12 starts before the All-Star break, Lin averaged 22.5 points, 8.7 assists, and New York had a 9-3 record. Carmelo's rejection of Jeremy Lin was a hunch that all became clear after the season and Lin becomes a free agent. The Knicks still owned his rights, so a team could offer Lin a contract and the Knicks would still have a chance to match the offer. The Houston Rockets offered Lin 3 years, $25 million, to which Carmelo called ridiculous, and many thought it was a slight against Jeremy Lin's rise and successful season. In Melo's defense, it could have been in reference to the structure of high luxury tax the Knicks would have to pay that Houston placed in the contract. Either way, seen however Melo's comments were, Lin never played another game with the Knicks.
LINSANITY has taken over New York City, Carmelo Anthony. How do you feel about that?
I love it.
Why?
I love it. I'm a part of it.
Stunt number 2, the Houston Rockets. On March 24, 2012, Jeremy Lin played his last game as a Knick due to a chronic meniscus tear, followed by surgery, causing him to miss the rest of the season. A successful season individually for Lin, as he was solidified to finally receive a longer-term deal than he's had since entering the NBA. This knee injury, though, took away the light of LINSANITY and the Knicks, who had an otherwise disappointing season again. The flame had been controlled, but was still burning for LINSANITY, with everyone interested in what would happen next. Would he and the Knicks agree to a deal and get a fresh start next year with their hometown superstar Carmelo, Amari, and a rising star in Jeremy Lin, with the potential to be the biggest star New York has ever seen? Not so fast. Due to the contract's $14 million luxury tax in the final year of a 3-year $25 million deal, the Knicks decided not to match the offer, and Lin headed off to Houston. It was a bad fit to say the least for Lin, whose style of ball-dominant play didn't mix well with Houston's incoming ball-dominant superstar James Harden, as the two never got their footing in 2 seasons together. In D'Antoni's system, Lin could shine brightest, but things were a lot different in Kevin McHale's. He averaged 13 points and 5 assists for the Rockets, and from there, LINSANITY, just as fast as it began, was officially over. Stunt number 3, the Mirage. The peak of LINSANITY was what Jeremy did in February of that year, but should he go on to Houston and have a successful time there, Lin would have took the initial craze of LINSANITY and blew up into a star in the league, especially in the Houston market, already the most beloved in Jeremy's native country, China. But as mentioned, his production was well below expected and never really got better, much because Lin was not the same player any longer. Lin's knee injury was obviously not as successful as thought to be, as he was durable enough to play all 82 games, but it seemed to have made him a step slower than before the meniscus tear, and now a lot more predictable. Or LINSANITY was just a mirage. Indeed, a flash in the pan that wouldn't last when Lin wasn't catching some teams off guard and mimicking a superstar until he was shut down not even 2 months of his peak success. With the Rockets, Lin basically got the same shot attempts with the Knicks, but because he wasn't as quick or explosive, nor in a system that suited his ability, things became clear that Lin was not that guy. He became a journeyman since then who played his last game in 2018-19. All in all, LINSANITY was a fun time no NBA fan will ever forget, and that can't be taken away from Jeremy Lin. Him in those big Knicks jerseys, slicing through premier teams and guards early 2012 gave him his shining moment and some of the best entertainment in sports. But for these reasons, LINSANITY's growth was stunted. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.